Now, from the Columbia Basin, your local news source, this is iFIBER 1 News, presented in high definition. The #1 source for real-time local news, local sports headlines, and our very own Weather Center forecast covering the entire Columbia Basin. With your iFIBER 1 News team, reporting news in real time as it's happening. From the iFIBER Communications HD broadcast studio in Ephrata, Washington, this is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
Welcome to iFIBER 1 News. I'm Cody Johnson with news from around the Columbia Basin for Monday, December 17th. Tonight, we report on the death of Grant County PUD Commissioner Randy Allred and the sentencing of David Nichols for the murder of Ephrata's Sage MUNRO. We look at the remodeling of the Ephrata Police Department and watch a night of 1,000 stars. In sports, we'll take a look at Eastern Washington University football, the Seattle Seahawks win over Buffalo, and a few upsets from over the weekend. Our spotlight story tonight is about smashing candy for Christmas. And we have the latest weather forecast for the Columbia Basin from the iFIBER 1 Weather Center. Our top story tonight, Grant County PUD Commissioner Randy Allred died on Friday after a long illness. The 62-year-old Allred had told PUD members his health was in decline. Interim General Manager Tony Webb said, "Randy was a great man and will be deeply missed by the Grant PUD family. He believed in giving more to his community than he took, and his many years of service were evidence." Allred was given credit for his years of work with the PUD. He was instrumental in relicensing the Priest Rapids Dam, bond refinancing, and helping accomplish some major capital upgrades at the PUD. Webb said the PUD will miss his leadership and that the impact he had on the utility will not be forgotten. Allred served as a commissioner since 2003. David Nichols was set to be sentenced for the murder of Ephrata's Sage MUNRO this morning. The sentencing was delayed and reset. Here with the story is Ryan Lancaster.
A sentencing hearing for convicted murderer David Nichols was postponed on Monday morning when Nichols' attorneys were unable to travel from Seattle due to winter weather. A Grant County Superior Court jury convicted Nichols of first-degree murder in September for the 2009 shooting of 35-year-old Sage MUNRO outside of Monroe's Ephrata home. Nichols faces a sentencing range of about 22 to 27 years in prison. At this morning's hearing, defense attorneys Jacqueline Walsh and Mark Larrañaga were contacted via speakerphone and said they couldn't drive over due to potential blizzard conditions. Chief Deputy Prosecutor Ed Owens pointed to a past report showing the road was clear and wet and suggested a Grant County Sheriff's truck could be sent to transport the attorneys to court. Superior Court Judge Evan Spurline instead rescheduled the hearing for Thursday, at which time he'll also hear a motion for a new trial. Nichols' attorneys argue they have new evidence showing another person was guilty of the crime. Prosecutors have characterized the evidence as unsubstantiated hearsay. For iFIBER 1 News, this is Ryan Lancaster reporting.
Thanks, Ryan. A burglary victim watched two men load stolen guns into a truck, and she followed them until they were arrested. Earlier in the day, the woman and her husband reported having 5 shotguns, 6 rifles, 2 pistols, and 2 scopes stolen from their home. Sean Lushenko, a 31-year-old Moses Lake man, and Brandon DeLauder, a 23-year-old Moses Lake man, were arrested. In the back of the pickup reportedly driven by Lushenko and DeLauder, a .22 caliber rifle was found and identified as belonging to the victim's son. Lushenko reportedly told police how DeLauder threw several firearms out of the truck while they were driving on Road 9 Northeast. 7 stolen firearms were later recovered by deputies. Lushenko was charged with 7 counts of possession of a stolen firearm and 7 counts of unlawfully possession of a firearm. He is a convicted felon, according to court records. His bail was set at $15,000. DeLauder was charged with 7 counts of possession of stolen firearms and possession of stolen property in the 3rd degree. His bail was set at $10,000. Ephrata is making room for the police and helping to make them safer. Here with the story is Bill Stevenson with video by Robert Ryder.
The people at the Ephrata Police Department are going to be safer once the remodeling is finished. Inspired by an unannounced visit by a murder suspect, Police Chief Mike Warren helped move forward with the remodeling project.
One of the things that we're going to be doing is providing more security in here, because as you know, in the past, they can walk right in here and go right into our offices.
The project is costing Ephrata about $15,000. Public Works employees are doing the work, which saves the city money, but makes the project completion a little unpredictable. The staff may have to stop work on the remodeling project when they're needed by Public Works.
This will be the office. Like I said, that window is going to go away. That window there will actually be in this spot here.
Ephrata City Hall building houses city staff and the police department. It was built in the 1950s to be a Safeway. The city bought the building in 1974, and there have been several remodeling projects to accommodate the changing needs of the city. The police department is closed to the public during the remodeling, which is expected to end in about late January or February. Officers will continue to work, but instead of dropping by, people will have to call them at 509-754-2491 for non-emergency businesses. I'm Bill Stevenson for iFIBER 1 News.
And we want to thank Bill and Robert for putting that story together for us. The Department of Ecology is extending the comment period for the proposed air quality permit to build the new Vantage Data Center on 63 acres of land northeast of Quincy. The new comment period is needed because the data center made changes to the proposed project that resulted in a slight increase in emissions. The due date for comments is now January 11th. The draft permit would allow the company to install 17 backup diesel generators for use during power failures to support the facility's data servers and place conditions on the operation to protect public health. The 17 new generators would be in addition to 141 generators already permitted at 5 other Quincy area data centers. Comments can be submitted to Beth Mort, care of the Department of Ecology, at 4601 North Monroe, Spokane, Washington, 99205-1295, or by email to beth.mort@ecy.wa.gov. The Central Basin Traffic Safety Task Force recognized several law enforcement officers from Grant and Adams counties during a ceremony at the Moses Lake Civic Center. Here with the story is Ryan Lancaster with video from Robert Ryder.
The Central Basin Traffic Safety Task Force recognized several law enforcement officers from Grant and Adams counties on Friday during a ceremony at the Moses Lake Civic Center. For the past 22 years, law enforcement agencies throughout the state have conducted DUI emphasis patrols during the Night of 1,000 Stars. The patrols are dedicated to officers who've died in the line of duty as well as those who continue to serve. Each star symbolizes the badge worn by an on-duty law enforcement officer.
And to give you an idea of how this impacts what we do and what we see out there, last year on a Night of 1,000 Stars, we were only able to get 1 DUI. Well, that tells me that it must be working. That tells me that we're doing something that's affecting some positive change out there.
After some opening words and a brief prayer on Friday, 16 officers were given awards for having the highest number of DUI arrests for their agency. It's important work. According to the Washington State Traffic Safety Commission, from 2006 to 2010, impaired driving contributed to 48% of traffic fatalities in Grant County and 38% of traffic fatalities in Adams. Award recipients were Adams County Sheriff's Deputy Craig Frank, Grant County Sheriff's Deputy Jarrett Fulbright, Grant County Sheriff's Office Motor Traffic Unit Deputy Tyson Voss, Moses Lake Police Officer Paul Wilmette, Quincy Police Officer Ernie Sensony, Quincy Police Officer David Anderson, Ephrata Police Officer Pat Kennedy, Othello Police Officer David Mullen, Warden Police Officer Chuck Paul, Washington State Patrol Trooper Chris Katong, Trooper Ryan Raymond, and absent but also receiving awards were Royal City Police Officer Ray Rodriguez, Trooper Dustin Steffen, and Trooper Randall Elkins. For iFiber 1 News, this is Ryan Lancaster reporting.
Moses Lake officials are asking residents to take part in redefining the city's vision for the future as part of a comprehensive plan update. The comprehensive plan serves as a land use and development guide that assists the city with policy decisions and achieving a long-term vision. Residents are invited to take a short online survey by visiting cityofml.com. People can also attend a workshop on Monday, January 7th from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Civic Center Auditorium located at 401 Balsam Street. The workshop is intended to be an interactive learning event, including a review of concerns and objectives identified by the community. Again, for more information, visit cityofml.com or contact the Community Development Department at 509-764-3751. Each of the people you see here have warrants for their arrest and are wanted by various law enforcement agencies. If you see any of the people here, the DOC asks that you not attempt to detain or apprehend them, but to call police. You can also call the Department of Corrections at 509-764-6180 during the day or 509-762-1160 after 5 p.m. We'll be right back after these messages with the latest from our iFiber 1 Weather Center.